Jay, a hearing was held last week on LB 517. Could you give us an overview of the bill?
Yeah, LB 517 was introduced by Senator Tom Carlson, the chair of the Natural Resources Committee, and it's a bill meant to continue the discussion on water funding. Obviously, we have a lot of needs within the state of Nebraska for funding needs related to our water management. And so the bill would create a short-lived task force. It would only be in existence for less than a year. And the task force is we've done a good job of, at the big picture level, identifying needs. It's going to burrow down into details, add to those needs, and then try to prioritize them and look at things in like research and modeling, conjunctive management, interstate compact compliance. Within each one of those areas, develop some priority needs and come back with a roadmap to the legislature for next year for then the legislature to have a discussion of what kind of funding it's going to provide to meet these needs. And I think the idea is to lay out like a 3 to 4 year roadmap to present to the legislature, say, okay, here's our needs, now we need the funding.
And how would the task force be formed?
Under the bill, actually, Senator Carlson offered an amendment to the bill last week that would divide the state up into 6 geographic regions, and it'd be a 22, I think 3 people out of each one of those regions, and then some at-large members. So the idea is to try to bring some geographic representation, but then also the language calls for making sure you have some surface water interest, groundwater interest, wildlife interest, municipal interest as well, so you can bring a broad perspective to the group. I think that'll be a discussion point as we move forward, exactly how that task force is made up and what kind of interests and perspectives you try to bring to it. But it'll be a discussion point moving forward.
And what about the funding for LB 517?
Well, that's the big question, and basically what the bill doesn't really address that. It tries to set up a process so we can identify the needs and lay out that roadmap again. And then next year when the legislature convenes again in January, the thought is that they will take this roadmap and the legislature will talk about funding. Now there's another bill, kind of a companion bill that Senator Carlson introduced. It's LB 516, which is kind of the next step, and it contemplates earmarking a certain percentage of the sales tax receipts for water funding. And so that's one proposal that's out there. Our policy from a Farm Bureau standpoint supports a broad-based funding source. The thought is that agriculture is contributing locally through the occupation tax on irrigated acres and property taxes, and that's where agriculture will contribute. So at the state level, it's got to be a broad-based support.
All right, well, thanks for the summary on 517, Jay.